Okay, I guess I should start this off by addressing the elephant in the room. So, uh, several months ago, I made a video of a build the roster style video for Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. And that video has been doing a lot better than I thought it would. Especially since there are quite a few people that are coming onto it and asking, where is part 2 and all that. And aside from general procrastination, some things have just been coming up for me that have been higher priority, and I've wanted to retool certain aspects of that first video before I went ahead and worked on the second one. Now that I have some more free time on my hands, I'm definitely planning on getting around to that second part eventually, but just know that it probably still won't be for a good while. But anyway, to hopefully make up for that, I thought I would work on a smaller-ish video on the side here. And this video is basically just the same idea as what people like Biffweed and Nemesis Bloodrike have done with Smash Bros. Ultimate and Team Fortress 2 and PlayStation All-Stars and whatnot. Except I'm coming up with a death battle idea for every character in Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. I highly doubt that's a requirement Ben and Chad are trying to meet, nor do I expect a lot of these episodes to happen, because a lot of characters in this game I don't think would really be on Death Battle's radar, but I thought it would be fun to do this regardless. Only thing I want to mention first before getting into this is that the same rules as those guys' videos also apply here. Basically, I'm not going to be covering the Punch Time Explosion characters that have already been featured on Death Battle. Although in this case there's only two, with Samurai Jack versus Afro Samurai and Ben 10 versus Green Lantern. So I still have quite a bit to get through here. And with that said, let's just jump right into this. Chowder versus SpongeBob SquarePants. Both are aspiring chefs that come from slapstick cartoons and have a childlike innocence to them. And also there's the whole Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon rivalry. I know Gumball is the more popular match for SpongeBob, but honestly I think this one just makes more sense. From what I know about both characters, SpongeBob should take it pretty easily. I have a friend that researched Chowder and he got multi-city block for him, but SpongeBob has town-level stuff with the stock footage nuke, and is also probably way faster. Plus that pretty OP regen he has. Powerpuff Girls Battle Royale. Okay, I know this one's kind of a cop-out, but I really couldn't think of any matches for the individual girls that I really liked. Plus, this could at least be an interesting debate since they all scale to each other anyway, so it wouldn't just come down to stats. With that said though, I do think it probably comes down to either Blossom or Buttercup. Mainly because they're the more willing to take action of the three. Sorry, Bubbles, but I won't be betting on you here. Flapjack versus Lazlo from Camp Lazlo. Both are carefree children who are the main characters of Cartoon Network shows that are known to get pretty weird and wacky. Said shows bearing more than just a few similarities to a certain opponent we covered here's show, but that's neither here or there. Neither of these shows have been featured, so I don't really know who wins this, and I don't know if I really care either. By the way, Camp Coral isn't going to have anything on Camp Lazlo, so just watch that instead if you want a SpongeBob and Summer Camp experience. Captain Knuckles versus Sticky Beard from Kids Next Door. They're pirates from Cartoon Network shows that are obsessed with candy. Plus, they were even paired up together for Knuckles' assist move in Punch Time Explosion. Again, Flapjack has not been featured, and I'm assuming Sticky Beard somewhat scales to the Kids Next Door, so he probably wins. But for all I know, Knuckles could be powerful enough to beat Goku or something. But speaking of the Kids Next Door, Number 1 versus Kim Possible. Another Cartoon Network rivalry, but this time with Disney Channel. Both are young characters whose shows have a strong super spy / secret agent motif to them. Since Kim wound up not being Batgirl's opponent, I guess this would be the next best thing for her if she were to be featured. I'm pretty sure Nigel stomps here, or at the very least blitzes due to dodging Father's attacks. Mac and Blue versus Rudy and Snap from Chalk Zone. Again, Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon match, this time between a brown-haired loser kid and their quirky blue best friend. Once again, no one has ever used these shows in versus, so stats-wise I have no idea where they rank. I imagine Rudy probably has more potential to win here, because, he's just... You gotta draw something! Dexter versus Jimmy Neutron. Probably the most obvious matchup here. Again, Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon, and a battle of child geniuses that build crazy inventions on a near-daily basis. From what I gather, this one's actually pretty debatable. Most people I see talk about this matchup say Dexter wins, but I've also seen some arguments in Jimmy's favor too, so I'm definitely not sure who would win if this were to become an official episode, but I do think out of every matchup in this video, this definitely has the best chance of becoming an official episode. Monkey versus Perry the Platypus, aka Agent P from Phineas and Ferb. Again, another Cartoon Network versus Disney Channel match, and one that actually happened at a community death battle not that long ago. They're the pets of child geniuses who live double lives as superheroes/secret agents. From what I hear, this is actually a win for Perry, which is funny to me considering Monkey is the one that has actual superpowers here. But hey, I'm definitely not going to be complaining about a Perry win. Grimm versus Jeddah Doma from Darkstalkers. Honestly, I don't really know what they have in common, aside from just both being different than usual takes on the Grim Reaper. But I have heard this match come up a few times for Grimm from friends on Discord. I don't think it's Jeddah's most popular match, but then again, I don't really see either of these two used that much in Versus anyway, so who am I to say? It seems like it would be a fun match to happen regardless, and from what I know, Grimm's size is actually universal, so he has a pretty good chance of winning this. And that's pretty neat to me. Billy and Mandy versus Bill and Ted. Two duos with one of them having Bill in their name. They both go on crazy supernatural adventures, and both duos befriended their own version of death. One against his will, and the other actually wanting to hang out with them. Billy and Mandy probably wreck this one really hard. I mean, they're the more toony characters of the two, and Mandy straight up resets the universe just by smiling. I don't think time travel can really compete with that. Captain Planet versus Bible Man. Superheroes that were created solely to preach a message to kids watching at home, and do so in the corniest, most on-the-nose ways. Yeah, that's the best I got here. Planet probably stomps here, but you really expect me to feed search Bible Man of all things to find out if that's true or not? Father from Kids Next Door versus Father from Full Metal Alchemist. As far as I know, the only thing these two have in common is that they're both named Father, and are also the main villains. But I have seen a few people actually voice interest in this matchup, including some people that are actually official Death Battle team members. So I think this would be a match where the fight potential would make up for the lack of connections. Also, I'm pretty sure K&D Father totally stomps, so I won't complain if this ends up happening. Vilgax versus Ridley from Metroid. Honestly, I think Megatron is a more thematic Vilgax match, but he's totally fighting Frieza at this point. And this is a matchup I've honestly liked for a while. They're both big, brutal, villainous commanders from space that have died multiple times only to come back later. This is definitely a match I hope picks up more traction because I honestly like it a lot more than both of their more popular matches. With that said, I think Ridley wins this due to generally better stats, assuming Vilgax doesn't get non-standard stuff like his Diagon form. Mojo Jojo versus Spectre from Ape Escape. They're super smart, evil apes that were mutated and want to take over the world. Mojo Jojo should pretty easily take this one. I don't remember where Ape Escape ranks in stats, but I'm pretty sure Powerpuff Girls have it beat. Especially since Mojo regularly takes beatings from the girls, and even easily beat a villain that they couldn't in one episode. Kevin Levin versus the Absorbing Man from Marvel. They can absorb different materials and shapeshift their bodies after doing so. And both of them opposed green-clad heroes, with Kevin starting off as a villain to Ben 10 and the Absorbing Man being a Hulk enemy. And that fact alone should tell you that Absorbing Man pretty effortlessly stomps Kevin here. Yeah. Johnny Bravo versus Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat. Two guys named Johnny that always wear sunglasses and are total hotshot ladies men with middling success, to say the least. I think Cage should ultimately take this one, but apparently this is actually a close match, which is just pretty funny to me. Him versus the Lich from Adventure Time. Both are unspeakably evil entities from Cartoon Network shows that take pleasure in tormenting their victims and feeding off their negativity. I don't know if the Lich scales to any of the Universal stuff in Adventure Time or not, because I think that came around after he was defeated for good, but if he does, then him is pretty screwed. Do I really have to count Young Ben? I mean, Young Ben was kinda included by default on Death Battle. Might as well anyway. So, Young Ben Tennyson specifically versus Nate Adams from Yokai Watch. They're kids who have watches that grant them access to supernatural creatures, with Ben being able to turn into aliens and Nate being able to summon the yokais. Even without alien force or anything beyond, Ben probably still stomps here. I know Yokai Watch apparently does have some pretty powerful stuff, but I don't know if any of that actually applies to any of Nate's standard yokais. Plus, what are they going to do against, like, Waybig or whatever? The Scotsman versus the Demo Man from Team Fortress 2. They're loud, they have heavy-duty weapons, they have missing body parts, and of course they're Scottish. Scotsman stomps, and pretty hard too, not just from the stats Death Battle used for both Jack and Scout respectively, but since then more stuff has come out for Samurai Jack that buffed Jack even harder, that gave Jack an even bigger buff, which gives the Scotsman an even bigger buff by extension. So, yeah. Sorry, Demo. Haas Delgado versus Ash Williams from The Evil Dead. Not Ash's most popular match, I know, but it was the best I could come up with here. I'm pretty sure this is a parody versus original matchup, at least to an extent, since they both have chainsaw hands and deal with supernatural beings on a daily basis. Haas most likely stomps this one, again, just toonier in general, unless you do retroactively scale Ash to Marvel Heralds or something, but I don't really buy that at all. The Toilinator versus Condiment King from DC Comics. Villains who are thematically stupid and probably the worst supervillains ever. I still have no idea why Toilinator was chosen out of every possible character they could have added. And I have another friend who actually wrote this fight and Toilinator stomp, so I'm just gonna go with that. And finally, Aku versus Ganondorf from The Legend of Zelda. I know it's kind of lame to end this with a character that would be returning for a third time if they did this, but it was the best matchup I could think of for Aku. They're both lords of evil and darkness that have been around for centuries, and both are considered impossible to kill without the use of the main hero's divine weapon. Obviously a huge no limits fallacy, but that's still a connection. I think this is probably the closest matchup on the list, as Ganondorf does have holy weapons that could harm Aku, though I think it really depends on which Ganon you use or how you go about compositing him. And there you have it, a potential death battle idea for every character in Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. Again, I highly doubt that's a requirement they're trying to meet, but this was still fun to do regardless. Like I said, part 2 to my build the roster type video is still probably going to take a while, but I hope you do still look forward to that, unless I decide to scrap it. In which case, sorry. I don't know yet. Sorry to end this on a sour note, but if you have any of your own ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Well, until next time, everyone.